The explosions aboard the ship were just terrible. I was on the bridge with the captain and the air officer. The air officer was third in command. Obviously, had to do with the air operations. Our captain, T.B. Williamson, was a wonderful man. I've forgotten what class he was, Jerry. We'll have to look him up. Huh? Yeah, it was in Jerry's class. Yeah. Anyway, T.B. Williamson was a stalwart, and he was a stoic, and he was a handsome man. I'll never forget him in the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco on Liberty after we came back to the States. That guy had women hanging all over him like spaghetti from the spaghetti factory. You saw anything like it. But he was a great guy, and he was inspiring. And we had our executive officer, second in command, and I'll never forget him. He was my hero, Commander Rudolph Bauer. And he kind of took a shine to me as a young officer. By this time, I was an officer. I went through boot camp in 1942, and then went into the Solomons. And that's a whole nother story. We'll wait a few more years for that one. But anyway, because of the anniversary thing here, we must move on. And I know I don't want to make you nervous, and I don't want to put you to sleep, which happens sometimes. But launching aircraft was very interesting. The IJN was firing at us. Shells were flying through the air, and we were launching planes. We had FM-2 fighter planes, a single-engine fighter plane. Some of you have heard of the F-4F Wildcat. That was built by Grumman. The FM-2 was the same plane, but it was built by General Motors, hence the M in the designation. Did you know that, Griffin? Now you know it. And our other plane was a torpedo bomber. Oh, what a plane. TBM, torpedo bomber, General Motors. That was the kind of plane that President Bush, number 41, flew as a 19-year-old Navy pilot and was shot down. Yeah, we had 12 torpedo bombers and 18 fighter planes in our squadron. Now normally, you know, the fast carriers, the big ones, would get up enough speed against the wind to be able to launch their planes with the propellers flapping and so forth and so on, unaided. We were so slow, and we never got over 16, 17 knots, and that made the whole ship shake so much you thought we were going to sink. We tempered it, the engineer tempered it down to 15 knots. You know how your car wobbles sometimes when you put on the brakes? Well, that's what the whole ship was like. But anyway, we were so slow that we could not launch planes under their own power. We had a wonderful hydraulic catapult on the forward port side of the ship. And every launching of planes we did with a catapult. We never launched a plane without a catapult. If we had, we would have lost them all over the side. And we still lost planes over the side. If you look closely in this picture, I love this picture. The forward FM, you'll see kind of a circle going around that propeller. That was moisture in the air. That was humidity. And the revolutions of that propeller was stirring up the heavy air. And I've never forgotten that. You remember funny things. The explosions of of the IJN enemy shells. The salvos were from the Japanese battleships, the heavy cruisers, and we never saw a battleship. We didn't. Now, the small boys, like the Johnston, the destroyer Johnston, famous ship, whose absolutely unbelievable captain, Captain Evans, and there's another story you have to read. You can't believe the bravery, the undaunted, unmitigated spirit of somebody like whoops, here. Okay, we're still here. Anyway, the Johnston was lost in the battle because there was a line of IJN battleships and cruisers coming in a line, a battle line, all in a row. Can you imagine anything more scary? You're talking about 500 yards, 5 football fields, and they've got their big guns trained on you. And Captain Evans of the Johnston realized the desperate nature of our baby flat tops. 3 of our destroyer escorts had been sunk. The Samuel B. Roberts, the Butler, and then Captain Evans of the Johnston turned. He saw the desperate nature of the situation, knew that the rest of it was, he couldn't do anything for us. We were on our own by this time. He turned 180 degrees and he headed bow on against that enemy navy. And the ship went down. He was never seen again. There were 30 survivors of a ship's company of about 220. That was the Johnston, and that was Commander Evans, and he got posthumously, of course, the Medal of Honor plus the Navy Cross. But I saw things like this. I saw the Sammy B. Roberts go down. I saw the Gambier Bay go down. Now, please, I'm not glorifying war. Get me right. And I'm not glorifying me. But I was there and I saw it and I'm telling the truth. And you can't get over the feeling. And I could still hear the rumble of the skin of the ship. That skin was so skinny, so thin, even in a calm sea. You could look down the side and you could see it wobble, you know. Kind of like a rose blossom beginning to lose its petals, you know, in the wind in your garden. That was the kind of thing that you were looking at. And I still hear the rumble of the ship and the firing of the cannons